Welcome to today's episode of Tidibel. We're excited to have Suranjan Sarkar with us, an NMIMS Bengaluru alumni who is currently working as a credit analyst in CIB division at Standard Chartered. Before this, Suranjan worked as a rating analyst in
Care-
CareEdge Group, and completed his MBA in Banking and Finance from Symbiosis School of Pune. Welcome back, Suranjan.
Thank you.
So, before we move on, let's talk about your journey so far. So, could you please elaborate on your current role at Standard Chartered and your experience so far as being an alumni of NMIMS Bangalore?
Sure. So firstly, I would like to thank you guys for having me here. So about my current role at Standard Chartered, as you said, I am a credit analyst in the corporate and investment banking division. So I'll be putting things in a very simpler way. Basically, my role involves it's a core finance role, and it involves analyzing corporates and FIs from a bank's perspective, wherein you judge how worthy they are of the credit that we give as a bank. So that process involves a lot of things. We judge their financials, obviously, but apart from that, since they are multinational corporates and we work with global companies, we look at aspects such as ESG, how is the management doing, and things like that, and we formulate an opinion wherein we prepare a kind of note that suffices our rationale of giving them credit.
Okay. And could you please elaborate on the experience of being an NMIMS alumni? How you do you miss the old days?
Absolutely. I mean, who doesn't miss the UG days? It has been a great experience year. Obviously, it has laid down a foundation of who I am today and what I'm doing, and I'll always be proud alumni of NMIMS Bangalore.
So let's go back to the college days.
Sure.
So, could you please share your experience as a committee member or club member you have been part of, and how it's helped you shape your future?
Absolutely. So, as I can recall, I was part of the cultural committee here. It was called Aroha then, I don't know what's the current name. And along with that, we used to have these sports houses. So, I was a vice captain in my initial years of that house, and then when the seniors passed out, I was handed over the role of leading the entire house, when we have to plan the auction and things like that. And also I was actively involved in the college football team. So I feel all these extracurricular activities, apart from the obvious good academics that NMIMS has helped me grow in more than one ways. It has developed my personality not only in the academics front, but I have become more confident in all aspects of it.
Okay. So, like when I was going through your LinkedIn, I could see your career transition from credit analyst, from rating analyst to credit analyst.
Right.
So, could you walk through the experience, like why you decided to change your career?
Sure. So again, to put it in a simpler term, so these two roles are not exactly different. It's just two faces of a table, wherein when you are a credit analyst from a rating agency perspective, basically you are scrutinizing again corporates or FIs, whichever division you work in, from a rating agency's perspective, where you check how well or how worthy they are in terms of paying off their liquidity. So you do, and in my current role, if I say, it's from a bank's perspective. So basically, in rating agencies, banks give loans to companies, and you prove that the loan given to the particular company is the company's worth of taking that loan, and you assign a particular rating. Wherein, as a bank, you just have to see that if my portion of the loan will be recoverable from the corporate that we give loan or not.
So, what are the various criteria? Let's say I'm a company and I want to improve my rating.
Correct.
So, what's the various criteria you look into?
So, for both the roles, I would say they are not much different. We look at the management, how they are doing. Financials are obviously a criteria. Then we look if there are any fraud related things that the company has, that we check using the CIBIL and things like that. Apart from that, we also look at the historical performances of the company. So apart from the current financials, we check how historically the company has been doing. are there any irrational spikes in the performance and things like that, and correlate all these what I would say the KPIs and then come to a particular conclusion.
ESG also is a factor.
Yes, ESG is more of a factor in global companies, which I am looking at in my current role. But previously, since it was all domestic companies, we did not factor in the ESG so much.
Okay. So many of our listeners are probably wondering, should they do MBA right after their degree, or should they get some experience and then probably start the MBA? So what's your your opinion on this?
Correct. So it's a very subjective question, I feel, because there's no particular right way according to me. I mean, if you do MBA right after your college, that's one road, of course. I guess most of them who are in UG in India particularly opt for that. And if you work as well, there's no issue. If you ask me personally, I would say that I guess if you get a good role right after your UG, you can gain a year of experience, so that at least you have a taste of the real world, how it goes and what it takes to go to a particular office every day, what are the different aspects of a particular job. That I feel would make you more aware of what you don't want after your MBA, because I feel if you are directly going to MBA right after your UG, you won't be clear of what you don't want. So there is a possibility that you might land up on a job or a role which you actually feel after MBA that this is not what you actually wanted. To give a small example, I would say, for example, if you are studying finance in your UG, you go to a finance role. There is a possibility that you might end up not liking finance at all. So you have a scope of choosing marketing or some other stream when you are doing your PG. But if, for example, you are doing finance and then you directly go to MBA and do finance again there and start a finance job, then I feel it would be a very rigid call to change your stream post your masters.
So you are saying it's better to get some experience and then pursue MBA?
I'm not saying exactly, but I'm saying it's better to be clear of what you want. So for that, so people have different ways of deciding. For example, for me, it was very clear that I wanted finance from the very beginning, so I pursued on those lines from the very beginning. But there are people who are not sure. So for them specifically, I would say just give yourself some time out there, understand what you want and what you don't want, and then decide. It can also happen that during your UG days you find a conclusion that no, finance is not for me, and then I'll take marketing in my MBA. But yeah, so as I said, it's a very subjective call, and you have to decide for yourself that what you particularly want from your MBA, because mostly people only do the MBA once, so you have to be very sure.
Okay, so what's your biggest learning curve, like moving from academics to the corporate world?
The biggest learning curve, I would say that from academics to real world, there is definitely a gap that you feel. Yeah, as I was saying, there's a gap definitely that you feel, but what you have to apply for the takings that you get or the learnings that you get from academics is that the consistency that you are putting in college, the mindset that you have to get up every day, go to the same place, work. Plus, I feel that in corporate world there are a lot of deadlines, which I guess in a student life there are obviously, but they are spaced out. In a corporate life, each day is important, is what I feel, because if you miss on a day's work, for example, then it may happen that it will end up in a big pile at the end, which is also a case in academics or in college, but in college it's still manageable. I mean, I have also faced such days wherein I have ignored the assignments in the beginning, and in the last few weeks or days we have managed to pull it off. But I guess that attitude won't work in a corporate, because you are accountable and you will be asked questions if things are not delivered according to expectation.
So in simple terms, like your college life has made you more disciplined,
Correct.
which is being helpful in the corporate world.
Absolutely.
So is there any projects which you think like you did it in your UG and was helpful in your corporate world?
They were different. No particular project I would say was like actually being implemented in my professional life, but the thing that allowed me, or that I took away from this project, was NMIMS has always taught me to think out of the box. So basically, when you face a problem in a particular field or in my professional life, I don't always rely on a bookish solution or a particular way of doing things. I tend to move on to finding my own ways or a different kind of solution, or mixing up a few things and then check if things are working out or not, are the things that I learned from doing projects. Because here, as you also might know, the projects are not so bookish. You have to always apply the concepts and bring out things that are not usual. So yeah, that are the takeaways that I took from the projects.
Okay. So in NMIMS Bangalore in third year we have the project like B Plan project. So could you please share your experience in the B Plan project and how you came up with the idea?
Yeah, sure. So I remember it very briefly, but as far as I can recall, our group made a plan on, starting these new age babysitting companies, basically for parents who are working. In Bangalore, whatever we have observed is both the parents are mostly working, and the number of both parents working were growing each year in Bangalore. So what we thought of was starting a company, a babysitting company, which would tie up with all these corporates in their own premises. It's just we'll manage a small space in there, so that the parents, whether it's the father or the mother, can take their child and put in their child in a babysitting a sort of
nursery
place,
type.
yeah, kind of that, which is within their office premises, so that they are not worried completely that what's happening. And we also had put in some features, like they can see through the CCTV what's their baby is doing, and they can come in if during the lunch breaks or things like that, and can check how's the baby doing and things like that. So we had made that these proper corporate areas in Sarjapur or in Belandur, wherever there's corporate hubs, we'll start our babysitting company there, and then maybe we can move to different cities or the major cities where in corporates are.
So during your time, like the pitch when you made, it was in front of the investors or
No, so we had to do it to the faculty members.
faculty members?
Yeah.
So credit analyst, I feel like credit analyst role is growing in the market, and the integration of AI, how you see the whole scenario is?
Good question actually, but my opinion is that especially in credit role, there is no proper black and white. So as you know, in AI you have to just put in all the variables and it will give you a particular output. But I feel in credit there is always a gray area for which you will need a human interference or a human touch, because there are n number of variables that can affect a particular outcome, especially when you are giving out your money to some other corporate. So not all variables can be accounted for, is what I feel. So not completely I would say AI will be used, but in some aspects maybe some things that are more operational or mechanical in nature can be like AI can be implemented in those aspects, but the analysis part is, I feel, will be still needing the human.
So till some extent AI can be helpful.
Yeah.
For example, let's say they are checking the historic data and all.
Correct. Or maybe if we just put in the PDF and they'll come up with a model or something like that, and we can just make changes in the financial model.
So how do you see this AI automation like reshaping your field as?
In credit, you are saying,
in
or
credit. In credit.
yeah. So as I said, we can use AI, but to an extent, I feel that it's the use of AI will be limited.
So are you using AI in your like work life or?
Not exactly. We use it for just basic searches, that too to a very small extent. But yeah.
So like
currently-
what are the like commonly used tool in your like in your work life? For example, let's say in credit analysis you use those tools which can be handy for the students to learn like beforehand.
First and the most basic tool I would say is Excel that you will be using, because you have to make or plant all your models in Excel. There is no option to Excel. And secondly, to give a real picture, when you go to a corporate, every corporate will have their own kind of softwares that they have developed according to their own processes. So you will have to learn each software. There is no particular software, as I would say, but again, there are certain languages that you can learn which will be useful in different roles. I mean, for my, though there is no particular language, but in, I would say, Python or something like that, or
Power BI.
yeah, Power BI, and all these things can be useful in certain roles in finance.
So for students aspiring to enter finance, especially credit analysis, so what skills should they focus on and how they can make the most of their time at NMIMS?
A particular skill I would say that they should be very sure in is their fundamentals of finance. I mean, whatever you are learning here is the core basic of finance. So you have to be very sure of the whys and the hows. Like formula and all that is fine, you tend to forget, but the implication or the application of those things you should be very clear of, like how a certain formula is working, or why a certain variable change in this formula is affecting, and things like that. And secondly, you have to be aware of the surroundings and try to link what you are learning to the surroundings. I mean, each day the financial world changes, so there is no same day in the financial world. So you have to be aware like what's going on in the industry, what are the trends. Because being in credit, you have to also be aware of certain industries, or maybe you also have to aware of the economies of different countries or the developed countries, which might be useful in certain roles. So for example, I work with UK corporates mostly, so I have to be aware what's going on in the EU, in UK obviously, and how other things, like for example the recent tariff thing that's going on, how all these things will affect my clients' country, domicile countries, macroeconomic conditions and things like that, because all these things are linked. I mean, basically it's a funnel. From a very big portion it will come down to your client, so you have to be aware and see how certain things are getting affected.
So recently the budget like in the Indian government released the budget. So what are your views on the budget?
It's a progressive one. Obviously, at the end, we all know it had a favorable thing for all the salaried employees. But yeah, it's a progressive one. India being the developing nation, obviously things will go, or the allocations will go to important sectors such as agriculture, defense, and infrastructure, things like that. But yeah, it's a progressive budget, and I feel that the move that has been made to improve the salaried class salary, like the tax regime that has been improved for the salaried class, it's a good move. It will increase the consumption, and overall GDP will be affected positively due to that.
So like when you look back at your journey, so was there any decision like you wish you have made it differently?
Not exactly, to be honest, because all the things that I did, all the decisions that I made, helped me to be who I am today. So I don't feel I would have made decisions differently. I mean, I lived a perfectly balanced life during my NMIMS days. It was all a mix of academics and sports and enjoyment. So yeah, I don't.
So were there any professors like who were more than a professor to you, perhaps a mentor, who have guided you always?
There are many actually. So naming one would be unfair, but yeah, there are a lot of learnings that I took. Especially, I have always kept a line that Preeti ma'am used to say that like attendance, marks, and all these things are incidentals and they will follow on. You just have to focus on the process, and you just have to, as I said, always keep on asking the whys and the hows and how things are happening, and these things will follow on basically. So yeah, there are a lot of learnings, and as I said, naming one particular
Still, you can
professor.
name few.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, Preeti ma'am, Indu ma'am, Natasha ma'am, or you can say Shweta ma'am as well. These professors have basically helped me so much that, I mean, maybe even beyond what they have done, not for me, but obviously, like we had a group of friends and we were very open about everything to all these professors, and likewise they have also been shown us the right direction, what should we do in our lives and how should we approach certain things, and they have also told uh, bluntly about where we have gone wrong or a certain thing that we did wrong which they didn't expected us to do and things like that. But yeah, we have made our own fair share of mistakes and they have guided us during that period as well, and we have learned a lot from them. I mean, I completely miss being in their classrooms actually.
So like Shweta ma'am is known for like attendance
Correct.
point. So it's
Correct.
like if class starts at 9, you should be
Yeah,
at
yeah,
8:55.
absolutely.
So was that same in your
Yes,
case?
yes, and the classes used to be so for us. It was like we showed a great response to her rule. So basically, she gave us a leeway of 5 minutes.
Okay.
So if the class starts at 9:05 is the time by which you should be inside the class, or else you have to be outside and wait or request ma'am. But yeah, the way she conducted herself in the class, we all thought that it would be very difficult because ma'am looked very strict in the beginning, but once everything flowed, so we understood that all she wanted us to be disciplined and serious during the times when we were studying basically. Once everything was done, I mean, she is also a very fun loving person to be around, and I can completely vouch for that. I mean, I cannot share what I've done in the classroom, being like with Shweta ma'am being in it, but we have also done a lot of mischiefs and fun during Shweta ma'am's class. So, but yeah, again, that is all about trust, and I guess she also felt comfortable that at some point she used to let go of certain things because majority of the times we were being serious and things.
So like I've heard from my sources in the basement area they weren't like window shades were not there.
Correct.
So usually there were some intruders like monkeys.
Yeah, not only in the basement area but in the path that we enter from. So there used to be a lot of monkeys. I don't know. Correct.
Now also we have.
Achha, so it used to be.
So how was the experience? Like let's say a lecture is going on, professor is teaching, and suddenly someone knocks.
Like not only knocking, but we have also seen monkeys entering inside the empty classrooms if the windows were kept open throughout the night and things like that. So those days were fun. I mean, we have seen this college built from, we can say scratch, not scratch exactly, but yeah, most of the things were being built when we were there. So yeah, it was fun.
So if you could relive one moment from your journey, which moment would it be?
I would say that not relive. Actually, I would like to live that moment because we did not get that moment. So I still remember on March 14th, I guess, we received a mail saying it will be on 2020. So we got a mail saying that we have a holiday for a week, and I remember we had our final exams in April. So we didn't knew, and they said the classes will resume after that week. And the COVID thing was just starting in Bangalore or things like that. So we thought that we'll be going home for a week, and then we'll be coming back again and resume our classes and the exam. But we all left during the week. Basically, I left on the same day to my hometown, and but then again, nobody came back. Basically, we had the lockdown and the COVID journey of 2 years, whatever it was. So basically, we never got to end things the way we wanted to. So all the friends left abruptly. We all had to connect over video calls and things like that, and this way one fine, I guess, Thursday or Wednesday we graduated online. So I would like to, if given an opportunity, get an opportunity, I would like to, end things, call my friends, enjoy those few days like we
DJ
planned. Yeah, like we planned, we had our own plans and things like that.
So how would you describe your journey in one word?
Epic, I would say.
Epic.
Yeah.
The COVID batch.
Yeah. Not the COVID, but yeah. I mean, we only had the last semester to not complete last semester, a few months or so. But
March.
yeah, apart from that, it was great. I mean, we had built certain things that I guess you guys are following now. The war of divisions and all those things were planned by us. So it was great.
So, what advice would you give to your younger self?
I would say him to not give up easily. I mean, there will be a number of times wherein you will feel that it's the end or there's no way ahead, but there are always different ways of doing one particular thing, and you will find those ways if you keep on exploring. I mean, if you quit at that point, it is the easier option, but yeah, if you keep going on, there will be ways, and people will also come in your life who will help you or guide you to find those ways. So yeah, you should always
continue.
Yeah.
So, any final thoughts for our listeners?
Final thoughts would be enjoy whatever days you are here in college, because I can vouch that I know all these attendance rules, assignments, exams, the tough nature of whatever we get here will feel a burden to you right now, but you will 110% miss each day of these things when you move out from here. I mean, it's a very good college to be in, and when you enter in your next phase of life, you will feel the difference from others. Like attending classes regularly will make you be habituated to being consistent, performing well. I mean, the extracurriculars that we have, the way our courses are designed, wherein it's not only textbooks and notes, we have to give presentations and things like that. You be free, be open to everything that is given to you and accept everything. I know I have been in your place too, where I also felt ki what is this, each day or every 2 days we have to submit a thing, but again that's a part of
the journey.
Yeah, exactly, and this is what you signed up for, but the journey is absolutely going to be amazing, and I can vouch for that.
Thank you so much, Suranjan. It was an absolute honor
Pleasure.
to have a conversation with you. Your journey from NMIMS Bangalore to Credit Analyst surely is remarkable.
Sure.
I'm sure like our listeners have learned a lot.
Thank
Thank you very
Pleasure.
much.